My name is Bob Fisher. I am the graduate from the class of 1997 and also have received my master's from St. Mary's in 2006. I am very proud to serve my alma mater as the Director of Alumni Relations. So welcome to everyone. This morning, we are going to have the opportunity to listen to Father Burns present on the great momentum of your alma mater, along with presentations from Dr. Michelle Weiser, the Dean of the School of Business and Technology, and Sister Agnes Mary Graves, our new director, and the inaugural Jack and Marianne Remick Chair of Nursing. But first, let's just go around and introduce ourselves, name, where you are living, and your class year. We'll start with Mike Wald.
Yeah, I was a class of 1965. I normally live in Arizona, but I escaped to New Hampshire in July. This is the view off the porch of my daughter. And then I go to Minnesota in August, and then go back to Arizona.
Thank you, Mike.
Yeah.
Gary Klein.
Greetings all, Gary Klein. I am a member of the advancement team at St. Mary's, back after a little 20-year sabbatical. I was here from 1996 to 2001 with then President Brother Lewis. And I was so excited when Father Burns called last December and said, how would you like to come back? So it's good to be back. It's good to be back at St. Mary's. And I am blessed with an amazing team that Audrey Kinsey, our former VP, left us. And Audrey transitioned a few months ago into a new position overseeing our philanthropy and development program. So still with us and still a dear friend and supportive of our work. So glad you're all here today. Thanks.
Thank you, Gary. I'll do an introduction later of Michelle, Sister Agnes Mary, and Father. So we'll skip over to Gail.
Hi, I'm Gail Smith, and my husband and I, this is my husband, Terry, and we live in Cedar Rapids, Iowa, and I graduated in 1980.
Well, thank you for being here and happy anniversary. Mitchell.
Hello, my name is Larry Mitchell, and I'm a resident of Connecticut at this time, but I'm a native of Iowa. And of course, I went to school in Minnesota and got hired, started business in St. Paul, and got transferred, eventually transferred. And 1966. So that makes me a 65-year graduate. I was there for my 25th and my 50th, and another one in between, two in between. And glad to be with all of you. I heard from Father before when we had a Northeast group. So I'm happy to see all of this technology, since I was hired on campus by a company known as IBM and spent my career in this business. Okay. And I was a classmate of Charlie Weiser. If there's any connection, let me know. Okay?
Thank you, Larry. It's good to have you with us, and congratulations on your wonderful anniversary.
Thank you very much.
Dr. Matthew Toth. You're muted right now.
There we go. A little slow. It's late here, but I'm acting like it's I just got up. Good morning. I'm from the class Matthew Toth, class of 1961, 60 years, which is almost impossible to believe, but very proud of all that. So very happy to be with you from Auburn, Massachusetts.
Thank you, Matt. Also from the East Coast, Dr. John Stegeman.
John Stegeman, and I live on Cape Cod in Falmouth, Massachusetts, and am still employed at the Woods Hole Oceanographic Institution. And I am in the class of 66. We're not having an anniversary, but we will next year, 55. And people are excited about being there on campus next year, but glad to be here and see everyone, especially you, Bob, and you, Father Burns, this morning. So great.
Thank you, John. Mike Dooley from your class talks it's going to be the largest 56th anniversary we've ever had at St. Mary's. So we're looking forward to it as well. George. George might not be with us right now. How about Andrea? Oh, your audio is not coming through. Very faintly. Maybe the volume needs to be turned up.
A little better?
Yeah.
Okay. I live in Cedar Rapids, Iowa. I think that's what we're saying. And then I'm from class of 90.
Okay, great. Well, welcome. Thank you. Happy anniversary as well.
Thank you.
So thank you for doing the introductions. I think this morning you will certainly see that you're going to see this wonderful vision and a future that's full of hope at your beloved St. Mary's. Following the presentation, you'll have an opportunity to ask questions and have an engaging conversations about your St. Mary's. At this time, I would like to lead us in prayer. Let us remember we are in the holy presence of God. Creator God, we share in the light of your glory through your Son, Jesus, our teacher. May we be afire with new hope. Help us be a guiding light to our students, alumni, and larger St. Mary's community. Fill us with a passion for our ministry of bringing your good news to those whom we teach, especially to those who are poor. Help us to recognize the needs of our time and to respond courageously. Open our minds and hearts to do your will so that one day we may come to the feast of eternal light. We ask this through Christ our Lord. Amen. St. John Baptist de La Salle, Mary, patroness of our university,
Pray for us.
live Jesus in our hearts.
Forever.
It is now my personal and professional privilege to introduce the 14th president of St. Mary's University of Minnesota, Father James Burns. Father Burns was inaugurated as the 14th president in October of 2018. Since that time, Father has hit the road running, instituting Strategic Plan 2025, building a future full of hope, and leading the execution on this important plan and vision. Prior to St. Mary's, he was the Dean of the Woods College of Advanced Studies at Boston College. Thank you, Father, for presenting to us this morning.
Thanks so much, Bob, and thanks to all of you for being with us this morning to share a little bit virtually of your alumni relationships, as well as what's happening at St. Mary's. I'll speak for a little bit, but then we're going to have other presentations, so I want to keep my part fairly brief, and then so we can have time for questions and answers as well, if there are such. And I know some of you have been attending some of the other sessions, and hopefully those have been meaningful and helpful already. It goes without saying that this has been, as they say, a year for the ages, or really 16 months really for the ages. It's hard to believe that we've been through so much. The pandemic alone changed our world in ways we probably didn't imagine, why we're on this Zoom call rather than in person. And yet we hope by next year at this time, many of us will be able to gather together face to face without masks, and to see our smiling faces in reality, not virtually. We also, as you know, in our Minneapolis campus, we're very close to a lot of the violence and unrest that has been happening. And yet we've managed to move with and through that as well, and trying to adapt to the changing environment that has presented to us. And as a result, I'm happy to say we didn't just survive, but we grew as a community. As Bob said, we advanced our strategic plan. We continue to work on that, and not just work on it, but actually successfully complete many milestones on that plan, some of which you'll hear this morning. It's pretty impressive, I would say, for our team at St. Mary's that we did this, because a lot of schools just paused their plans immediately as they faced, or as they went into the pandemic. We're not able to get any momentum because of a lot of the other factors that really impinged upon their ability to move forward. But we did not. We continue to move forward while taking all the protocols seriously that we needed to. And I think that provides us great optimism for our future. While we're down a bit in enrollment at the college, at the undergraduate level, a lot of schools in Minnesota, like ours, and the Minnesota private colleges, are down in enrollment in the undergraduate. There are just a few that either have remained steady or have grown a bit, but most of them have been down. COVID has stretched the organizational capacity and the ability for people to feel confident as maybe they had before the pandemic with what's been happening. So I just have to say that that's notwithstanding, our graduate programs have actually been doing very well. We've maintained our graduate programs, our enrollments, and our as we go by in the graduate schools, credit hours, our credit numbers have remained constant, which is really, really remarkable. And our retention rate at the undergraduate has been strong, which cannot be said for a lot of schools. So while we aren't getting the number we thought we would for the fall this year, our retention numbers have remained steady. And we do have great hope for the following year, 2022, that we're already looking very positive in terms of people inquiring and being interested in our programs. I have to say, this past week on Monday, we were able to bring together about 225 priests to actually see our campus for the first time from the Archdiocese of St. Paul, Minneapolis. They were able to actually witness kind of St. Mary's in Winona. And for the first time, many of them, 80% of them had never been to St. Mary's, though all of them, or most of them, had been born or raised in Minnesota and certainly the Twin Cities. The fact that they came to the campus and regarded the campus as one of the most beautiful they've ever seen, and are going back to their communities, to their parishes, to tell the young people in their parishes that they really need to give St. Mary's a look, that they really need to send their young people down to St. Mary's. And even some of them had mentioned that they would be directing those, particularly who were interested in St. Thomas, to take a real good look at St. Mary's. So that's good for us in a lot of ways. I'm happy to report, as I said, many successes in our strategic plan. I'm just going to mention a few that we were able to advance even in these kind of times of capricious change. I won't take away Dr. Weezer's presentation on business technology and entrepreneurship offerings. She's going to speak to those, but there have been great strides we've made there, particularly in our newly renovated Hoffman & Ducci Brother Charles building, which is just going to be fantastic for her programs, for some of these science programs, and certainly Sister's program as well. And Sister Agnes Mary will talk to us about the launch of our new nursing program, which is already being met with great applause and a lot of real interest in what the kind of nursing model that Sister and another professional, doctor of nursing practice have developed that we will be implementing at St. Mary's, and she'll talk more about that. Our Character and Virtue Education Initiative, we've hired a vice president for that through support of philanthropy. We were able to receive a gift that supports that position in perpetuity. It's an endowed gift because the donor really saw the important need for ongoing character and virtue formation amongst our students at all levels and in all stages. And quite frankly, for our whole community. It's not just for students, it's for faculty, staff, for all of us really, to continue to grow in the way of character. As I've said many times, I don't know many people that want more vicious people in society, but I do know a lot of people who want more virtuous people in society. So I think we're on to something, and it's been met with a lot of great regard, and people just naturally are inclined to it. So this is really a wonderful thing. We just appointed a vice president for inclusion and human dignity, and I would say that importantly, we're really focusing not solely we are on diversity inclusion, but also on the church's kind of understanding of every person has fundamental dignity by the virtue of being human, and that we need to not only applaud that and bring that to the forefront, but raise that up, lift that up, that we have an inherent dignity because we are created in the image and likeness of God. And so Leon Dixon, who's taking on that role, is going to be moving those efforts forward across the university, and is just a really faith-filled, delightful man who's going to bring a lot to our community and a lot to our conversations. Other key hires, from advancement to deans to other areas in the university, are really helping us drive results, measure our goals, and advance our mission. I want to mention that our online teaching, we're not planning to become an online university, despite what anybody might have led you to believe if that's the case. But we're not looking to become an online university, though we do know online has to be a fundamental part of how we approach education for the future. To that end, we want to bring to online education the best minds and also the best techniques and approaches to online. To that end, we have created a 12-week course, three different courses, each of 4 weeks a piece, for a total of 12 weeks if you take the introductory, intermediate, and advanced online teaching. So far, our faculty have completed 400 courses in learning to be online instructors and learning that, and 119 of those faculty have actually completed all 12 weeks to receive an advanced online instructor certification through St. Mary's, which is simply amazing. That is a real demonstration by our faculty of how important the online is, but how important teaching well online is. It's not just about getting online and teaching, it's about teaching in the method and the manner of the brothers who have such a long history of Lassallean pedagogy, but doing all we do in online very well. So we're really excited about that, and we know that nationally we're going to take our place in that. We have a lot of good news in our athletics area. As many of you know, we had competitive play in the winter and spring, despite the pandemic. Delaney Wolf, one of our women's hockey players, received the Hockey Humanitarian Award from ESPN. And that is not just for Division III, but that's across all three divisions, male and female. So all three, Division I, II, and III, male and female. She was chosen as the student to be the Hockey Humanitarian winner from ESPN. She's a future med school student now at this point, and she epitomizes really character in athletics, academics, and service. Wonderful. Some of you may know that Coach John Cheetah, who was with us in the past and led our women's softball to national championships and tournaments, who was at St. Thomas. St. Thomas is going Division I, and he wanted to stay Division III, and we happened to have an opening in softball, and it worked out perfectly. And so he's coming back to his alma mater of St. Mary's, and we look forward to great things are already happening with him. I've seen him on campus 4 times already, bringing new recruits around. So he's already hit the ground running, as they say, and it's just fantastic. And he also has the distinction of having played basketball with me in grade school. So we grew up together on the West End. So he's a lot faster than I was. But and then finally, St. Mary's baseball team, the Cardinals, as many of you know, ended the season with a school record of 30 wins and MIAC championships. So they won the MIAC championship title. So these are just a few of the things that really give us a reason to have great hope in our university, in our academics, in our programs, in our way of approach of being entrepreneurial about education, but doing it in a really thoughtful way, and all the while being mindful of our Lassallean Catholic heritage and raising up each person in our system, that we all rise together, and when we succeed, we all succeed together. So I'm happy to answer any questions later on, but for now, I'll turn it back over to Bob. Thank you all so much.
Thank you, Father, for being with us today and for your great presentation. We really appreciate it. I now would like to introduce Dean Michelle Weiser. Dean Weiser started at St. Mary's in 2019. She oversees the undergraduate and graduate programs in the School of Business and Technology. Previously to St. Mary's, she was the interim dean of business at St. Catherine University. I am going to share my screen for her presentation and for Sister's presentation. So just bear with me. And then, Michelle, you can take it away.
Awesome. Good morning. It's wonderful to be with all of you. Any chance I get to join Father Burns and my colleagues to talk about what we're doing is always a happy occasion for me. So I'm thrilled to be here. I can't wait to attend a reunion in person. I started in August 2019, and obviously there was not an in-person reunion of any sort last year. And this year we're just almost there. So I am really looking forward to next year. But for now, I'm excited to share some really exciting updates with you on things that we are doing in business and technology. So the biggest one really is our new home that Sister Agnes Mary and I and many other colleagues get to share. And this has truly been a highlight, particularly of this past year. I think, as Father said, we kept true to our strategic plan the whole way through this pandemic. We also kept true to the progress and the building of what you see here. And I think that's really remarkable as a true sign of hope. And that's what we're really trying to do. So I've had the chance to spend some time in our new building a lot lately. And I'm coming down to Winona again, spending Monday and Tuesday, taking several different people from the community through the building. So I'm really looking forward to that. What you see here is just a list of some of the spaces in the business area within this building. Sister will talk about nursing, and then our colleagues from science and social science are also in here with us. But some of the most exciting elements, I think, particularly as it pertains to alumni, is that we've got very exciting new hands-on student spaces with our entrepreneurship Kabara Institute, with a new multimedia communication lab, and with our maker space, which is really, I keep calling it kind of the heartbeat of the building because it's right in the middle of the building. And to me, it signifies the intersection of technology, business, science, nursing, healthcare, all of it together. So it's super exciting. We also are fortunate to have 3 brand new, large, state-of-the-art analytics labs just on our floor for business. So that will allow our students to really have a best-in-class experience learning with technology tools and analytics for finance, for data analytics, and for other disciplines. Our faculty are right there, which is amazing, just surrounding these spaces, which just makes for natural collaboration. And then we look forward to welcoming you to this building whenever you're next in Winona. We have an entire partner suite just waiting for you. There are 2 offices in there and a kind of a visiting living room type space. And then we have a large conference room. And for me, I'm really looking forward to welcoming alumni and business executives and others to just spend some time in that space. I mean, office in that space for a week, mentor students, meet with faculty. It's just going to be a really vibrant, dynamic space, and we couldn't be more excited about it. Next, I'll talk just briefly, our Business Advisory Council, which has been just a treat to work with over my 2 years here at St. Mary's, is expanding. We've done some really great work in Winona on internships, mentoring, student events, really building some strong connections to the business community. And now we're taking the model of what's worked well and expanding it to really focus on other geographies, including the Twin Cities, Rochester, Chicago, and beyond. We recognize that we really have an obligation to our students and to all of you. I mean, when you introduced yourselves, you're not just in the Twin Cities, Winona, Rochester, and Chicago. You're all over the country. So we look forward to connecting with some different folks that can provide different perspectives, both as alums as well as non-alumni, to continue to enhance the strong partnerships that we've built between business and the academy. So that's really exciting. Next, we'll talk really quickly about a big initiative that came out of the strategic plan. And this has truly been probably the most exciting thing, other than the building, that I've worked on since I started. And that's the St. Mary's accelerators. And I'll share a couple stories in a few minutes that really show that what we really had dreamed of launching surrounding these accelerators has really come true. So St. Mary's accelerators, if you think about them, they're more bite-sized building blocks of education. So rather than having to take a full master's degree, you can take a 4 or 5 course certificate, a graduate credential, and allow that to help you accelerate your career or change your career. And much of this got started with one of the strategic initiatives, University Strategic Plan. And that was all around building new pathways in business. And what you see is that now we have over 20 graduate certificates. That's not just in business, but all in our whole portfolio, including some healthcare and some education. On the left side, starting with data engineering on down to innovation and entrepreneurship, are new certificate programs that we have launched in the past 15 months. And at this point in time, I think we have somewhere between 50 and 70 students in these certificates, and many more that are probably aiming in that they can either add a certificate on to an existing master's or come just for the certificate. What we have found, I just got a message a couple of days ago about a student in our business intelligence and our business analytics certificate that reached out to the program director and said, I've had such a good experience, I want to continue into the full master's degree. So that is exactly what we hoped would happen, that people would kind of believe that, you know, it's easier to get a certificate. I don't want to commit to a full degree. I'm going to do these 4 courses, get this credential, and then they get into it and realize I can do this and I want to do this, and they continue on. Or the reverse, they're in a program like our MBA and they decide I would like to specialize in something like healthcare analytics. I'm going to add it on. What you see on the right, the black ones at the top are new certificates launching in the fall. So some really exciting new offerings there. And then the ones in red are ones that are on our radar screen as a potential next batch of offerings. So Father mentioned Leon Dixon, our new Vice President of Inclusion and Human Dignity. He is an amazing individual. I couldn't be more excited that we have him at St. Mary's, and I can't wait to see how he helps us all evolve. But he has many, many ideas that intersect with business. And so we've already got our collective wheels turning on some great offerings that we can hopefully bring to the university.
I'm working out there.
You're so excited about that. Okay. And a big part of what we've been doing, and I'll share some stories here, is as people make their way through these certificates, they earn digital badges. And these are essentially credentials that they can share on LinkedIn, share with future employers, share in their email signature. And they're just a signal in terms of what they've learned in those programs. So since February, we've launched 27 distinct micro credentials linked to 6 graduate certificates, and then we expanded again in April. We have had over 1,000 of these digital badges issued already to our students, and they're sharing them. If you look at that, 67% means 67% of those who've earned a badge are actively sharing them out on LinkedIn. And what an employer, a prospective employer, can do then is click on that badge. It's going to take them to a page that says, here's what this student learned. So just this past week, one of my colleagues did some focus groups with students and asked them, how are the digital badges working for you? Have you seen any benefit? And I'll just share a couple quick highlights from this, because I think this really, really brings home what we intended to do by launching these accelerators. One student is in our business analytics certificate and said he was having trouble looking for a new job. He was job hunting toward the end of the certificate, having difficulty getting some interviews because he was a career changer into the field. Once the badges came out, he showcased them all on LinkedIn and began getting a lot of interviews. He eventually landed a job as a business analyst at Vanco. He said he was having trouble articulating his experience because he didn't currently work in the field. But when employers were able to click on these badges and see what he learned, they clearly showed how he was ready for their position, and he landed a job. Another one actively was pursuing and landing a job in business analytics. She just landed a job at Anderson Windows because of the badges she shared on LinkedIn. She said, and this is the stuff you just want to bottle and share, she knows her life has changed because of these digital badges and because of St. Mary's, and she's forever grateful. Another one worked in corporate for Target and had just left, and said Best Buy proactively reached out to him after seeing his digital badges on LinkedIn, and he's received several interview requests. He said that the badges have helped him be seen and to stand out in a highly competitive job market. So those are just 3 of several stories we've heard lately about how students not just decided to go through a more manageable in terms of time and cost program, a credential, one of these accelerators, but then they're signaling out there to the world what they're learning, and it's having real results. And I think at the end of the day, I know that's why I'm here at St. Mary's, is to help our students make a difference, to change their lives, and to create a really bright future. Lastly, I'll just say there's an alumni digital badge in the works. So that'll be coming soon. And then lastly, I'll just share on the next slide, Bob, we're actively working on a new strategic initiative called Reimagining Rochester. I am leading this. Actually, I kind of call it Reimagining Rochester. That's not its official name. It's all about exploring new pathways and degree and non-degree options for our Rochester campus. I'm co-leading this with our Vice President for Marketing and Communication, Kelly Shannon. We have an amazing group of healthcare and business folks in science that are actively looking at how we build greater awareness in that market and how we better serve the needs of the population. So exciting things to come there. And then lastly, on the last slide here, I'll just let you know that we're continuing to execute really relentlessly against our vision. There is no slowing down. There's a lot to come. Many new programs, new certificates, some exciting new things with corporate partnerships, really expanding and looking now at intersections with other schools. So, with the sciences, with nursing, as nursing comes on, there's already some natural points of intersection that we've been talking about. So all in all, it couldn't be a more exciting time. I'm grateful to be leading this school and can't wait to see where we go next.
Well, thank you, Michelle. What excellent update. As you can see, there is incredible momentum in our School of Business and Technology. So thank you for your vision and your leadership. Now, at this time, I would like to introduce Sister Agnes Mary Graves. Sister Agnes Mary is from the Congregation of the Religious Sisters of Mercy. She will be leading efforts on the St. Mary's BS in Nursing pre-licensure program and the RN to BSN online program. Sister Agnes Mary, we welcome you to St. Mary's.
Thank you. It's a pleasure to be here, and it's always funny when I'm welcomed, because I've lived here at St. Mary's for 4 years at our convent as I was finishing my studies, but it's also new now that I began working at St. Mary's this past year with this new nursing program. Just to give a few updates about where we are with our nursing program. So we began as a university planning and developing this really since 2018. So for a long time, looking at what's the needs of the region and how does St. Mary's fit in with providing and launching a nursing program. In this past June, the Minnesota Board of Nursing approved our nursing program. And so that was a big milestone for the launch team. Really comprehensive plan we had to put together to show to the Board of Nursing that we're ready to welcome our first cohort of students. And they were overwhelmingly impressed by the program that was put forth by the team here at St. Mary's. And they said it was the most collaborative group they had ever seen at a university. And so I think that speaks highly of the team we have here at St. Mary's across departments working together to help support this new program. The program is also accredited by CCNE, the College Commission for Nursing Educators. And that's in part due because we already have an existing RN to BSN program. So that was a great step ahead for us that we already have that accreditation really from the get-go. The program is a traditional 4-year undergraduate pre-licensure program. So they'll come to the university as freshmen and spend 4 years with us. And at the end of that 4 years, when they graduate, they'll have their Bachelor of Science in Nursing, and they'll be eligible to take the NCLEX board certification exam to then become licensed as registered nurses. It's a freshman entry program, which is unique to other nursing programs in that they apply to St. Mary's to become freshmen, and at the same time they apply to the nursing school. And so when they step foot on campus as freshmen, they know that they're in the nursing school. We'll accept 40 students every year. Every fall, 40 students will begin in this cohort model. And over the course of those 4 years, they move through the program together. This is beneficial because, unlike some other programs where you apply to the school, you do your general education, and then perhaps in your sophomore year, you apply to nursing. Some get in, some don't. And it creates a very kind of hostile and competitive environment. It's the sort of program I went through. And what we want for our future nurses is for them to learn collaboration and teamwork more so than competitiveness. And so from the very get-go with this cohort model, they learn that because they want to help each other get through the program, study together, all of those good things. That's really a key skill for future nurses that we want them to have as well, collaboration and teamwork. The first cohort will be beginning in fall of 2021, so this upcoming year. And we expect it'll be a little bit of a smaller cohort, which will be good for us as we're really getting the ball rolling with starting this brand new program. And for fall 22, as Father Burns mentioned, we're already getting a lot of interest. And I think I gave 6 tours to prospective students this week. And they're all just so excited, not only to see our campus, but to get to see our nursing suite. We have 8 hospital beds. We'll have high fidelity and medium fidelity mannequins that are all part of our education program. So at St. Mary's, what you'll see is kind of on this slide, what makes us stand out is teaching our students the art and the science of nursing. And I tell our prospective students, if you're only good at being organized, analytical, critical thinking, and knowing the science of nursing, when you go into a patient's room and tell them, this is how your kidney works, this is why it's not working, and we're going to put you on dialysis, and then you walk out of the room, that person's not going to feel very cared for if you just describe all of the science to them. And so what we want to teach too is the art of nursing, which is that compassion, empathy, caring, really looking at the human person, the whole context, that comprehensive human person. I also tell them, if you only practice the art of nursing, you might accidentally hurt someone if you don't know the science. And so that's another key part of what we'll provide in our program, is really enriching that art and science of nursing. On the next slide, what that kind of looks like then is both this liberal arts education and formation in careful nursing, which I'll touch on a little bit more. Liberal arts education, all of our students receive here. Our nursing students will complete their Integratus minor, which is an interdisciplinary minor where they take courses from 7 different specific interdisciplinary departments. All of this, part of the liberal arts education, opens their mind to thinking differently, to learning from different disciplines, but also can then make them better nurses in the future as they integrate these different disciplines. Careful nursing formation is more of an informal or kind of hidden curricular thread throughout the program, where we form them through this model, which I'll talk about, which is careful nursing. So on the next slide, we can see what is careful nursing. And the history of this is it was developed and researched by Dr. Therese Meehan, who is one of my colleagues and mentors. And she published it in 2012, so it's relatively recent. And it looks at the historic roots of nursing, and it goes all the way back to the 1800s, really looking at Florence Nightingale, who is the founder of the modern nursing movement. She published a book in the 1800s called Notes on Nursing, What It Is and What It Is Not. So she defined the profession for us. And she also worked alongside the Irish Sisters of Mercy. That's my community. Now, I looked high and low for a Lasallian nursing theory, and I couldn't find one. And so I found what I know and have worked with a lot. And I looked at it through the lens of our Lasallian Catholic heritage, and it works so beautifully that I've been presenting it with different groups, and it's really been highlighted and well accepted. And so it's two parts that Dr. Meehan has found looking at these historic roots of the Sisters of Mercy, how they practice nursing, and how Florence Nightingale kind of worked alongside with them. And so it's a nursing philosophy and a professional practice model. Dr. Meehan in her research, on the next slide, you can see identified 7 key concepts to careful nursing. Careful nursing, in practice, is a lot what we see in Mercy healthcare systems, which are throughout really our country, but also throughout the world. And it's a common thread that the Sisters of Mercy took as they established these different hospitals and brought their style of nursing. But it's been developed for modern times. And so that's why she kind of titled it Careful Nursing, because it's more than just Mercy nursing, it's broader than that. So the nursing philosophy is 3 key points: belief in God, understanding the nature of the human person, and health is human flourishing. All 3 of these points enrich our students and help us to think about why we're going into nursing, how we want to practice as nurses, and how we want to treat people based on our fundamental beliefs. So for example, health is human flourishing is along the lines of character education, virtue formation. So how is it that a man or a woman who is full of cancer can be physically so ill, but can be happy, joyful, kind, peaceful? That's human flourishing in the presence of illness. And that's what we're looking for in our students, for them to help recognize within themselves through nursing philosophy formation, but also through their lens of how they look at and treat their patients. The professional practice model in nursing is often used in any magnet status hospital, which is basically a designation that the hospital is of very high quality from a nursing standpoint. They have to adopt a professional practice model. It's unique in that St. Mary's, we're founding our nursing program and kind of throughout our curriculum on a professional practice model, but it makes a lot of sense because when they go out and practice, they have to utilize some sort of professional practice model in their own nursing practice, wherever they end up. And there's 4 key dimensions that Dr. Meehan found from her research: the therapeutic milieu, professional practice and competence, management of practice and influence on health systems, and professional authority. On the next slide, we can see all together what careful nursing looks like. And when we see it all together like this, and I show this to prospective students, I say, I know it's a little overwhelming all at once, but how we build it is over the course of 4 years that they learn this. So they have to take a theology and a philosophy course. I say have to, but I could also say they get to, right, in the Integratus program. And so that's part of that backdrop there of the nursing philosophy from their freshman, sophomore year. And then we build on it with this green section is the therapeutic milieu. In their sophomore year, they become certified nurse assistants. Basically, that's how do you care for a human person? How do you treat another person and create a safe environment? The gold boxes are professional practice and competence. That's the nursing process that they'll learn in the formal curriculum throughout their courses during their junior year. The red box and the purple box are kind of the capstone pieces of their senior year, where they learn how to work as a part of the interdisciplinary team. They learn leadership skills, and they really get prepared to go out and be professional nurses who are confident and responsible. All of this together then, when our students graduate, makes them a nurse that's well-rounded, competent, and compassionate. And those are the things when we look at what kind of nurse are we going to be training here at St. Mary's. This is the model we're going with, and it's so robust, and I don't have time to go into it all now, but I wanted to give you all a taste of what we're doing here at St. Mary's, and also to know that we're the first to use this model, so it makes us very cutting edge and innovative. but knowing that it's on this long history of success of this historic nursing model. It's also, as I talk to some of my mentors and colleagues here in Winona, our graduates of the College of St. Teresa, it resonates well with them and with some of the mission and education they received, which is such a strong heritage here still in this region for nursing.
Well, thank you, Sister Agnes Mary. Wow. This is the first time I've seen the presentation on nursing. I'm very excited as well. What great energy you bring to this, and what a great program for St. Mary's to have. So thank you for being with us this morning. Now I'd like to open it up. I will stop sharing my screen to open up for questions. If you have a question.
Oh, this is Mike Wold. I just had a comment for Sister Agnes, and I really love the idea of liberal arts integrated with the nursing profession, and especially after everything we've gone through with the COVID and what the nurses, have had to deal with. And what I found about my liberal arts education, I ended up getting into scientific things and eventually management things. You're a little bit behind in the beginning with those who do totally technical. And what happens is, as you start to mature and as your career goes on, those liberal arts teachings, if you will, philosophies, allow you to move up in the organization, allow you to be a visionary thinker, allow you to have some care for the people, which is one of the best leadership skills. So I applaud St. Mary's for having this. I know that when I was there, St. Teresa's had a pre-nursing that was connected, I believe, with St. Mary's up in Rochester. And so I think you probably have met some of the graduates of that. That was an excellent. I'm happy to see St. Mary's stepping into that space.
Thank you, Mike. Any other comments or questions?
I was going to ask Sister, is she a Franciscan? Anybody know?
I am not. I'm a religious sister of mercy of Alma,
Okay.
Michigan is our mother house, but I've been meeting with some of the Franciscans up at Assisi Heights.
The reason I asked that, Sister, is I had two aunts that worked at the Mayo Clinic in St. Mary's for years, both of them Franciscan sisters.
Mm-hmm.
And your presentation was just excellent. Looked like the same thing that they used to present in their work. It was very good. Thank you.
Good. Thank you.
Any questions?
My name is Jim Beard, class of 61. I taught for 35 years at Rhode Island College, a public college in Providence, Rhode Island. We had a robust nursing program there too, and went through a renovation in the last few years, although I've been retired for a long time. I really like the overall plan that you put together, and I'm going to copy that slide and send it to the current chair of the nursing department, or the dean of the nursing school, because I'd like to see how much they come together. I think that would be a great thing to do. Of course, the idea of belief in God will probably be not in a secular program, but still, I think that's a great Lassallean addition to that.
So, Bob, if I may.
Yeah.
Father Burns, when you had the priests from the Minneapolis, St. Paul area come to the campus, and they were impressed, it makes me think about how to go beyond Minnesota, Chicago, Rochester, and whatnot. Is there some way that the true merits of St. Mary's can be put into a video or something that inspired alumni around the country could use in their parishes through men's clubs or other venues to begin to advertise the true merits and quality of the vision and mission of St. Mary's with all of the aspects that we hear today and others. And I'm going to give you one example of how reaching out beyond can make a difference. So I was helping to engineer placement for a couple of undergraduates in a research program at Bowling Green State University this summer. And the guy there who took those students sent me an email, and he said, bright, motivated students with a sense of humor are wonderful. He said, I love St. Mary's students. So getting opportunities for one or two, or showing the merits of this university around the country can begin to build a sense out in the broader community out beyond of what St. Mary's is, and grow its reputation and its impact. And so something that we could use would be really helpful, I think.
Thanks so much. Yeah, that's excellent on a number of counts. One, I know we have created smaller, what I'd say bite size, in a sense, 3-4 minute videos with some of our program directors and our deans and chairs. Sister Agnes Mary, I know, is in one that we're sending out to a lot of the Catholic high schools, because it really does strike a chord with our Catholic students, but all students. I mean, the nursing program isn't just for Catholic students. Of course, none of our programs are just Catholic, but there is something uniquely appealing to our approach in business with Dean Weiser as well. And so I think what you're saying, we've begun it, but I really like that idea. And I'll ask Bob to work with our Vice President for Marketing Communication, Kelly Shannon, to really tap into some of our alums, especially we have so many priest alums who've gone through Immaculate Heart of Mary. They're all over the country. Some all over the world, but all over the country, for us to actually create something that they can show to their whether it's religious education classes or their grade schools and high schools. There's a lot of ways we can get this message out, and of course inviting them back intentionally to campus, I think, is one of the best ways. I keep saying to some of the priests, I said our whole goal for having them with us was, yes, to provide a beautiful environment, but to treat them well and to give them an opportunity to really just enjoy their time together and while they're learning and growing themselves. But I think that that is a great idea, and something that we can definitely work on. And maybe create other collective groups of alums associated even by their area of interest, to show them, for instance, to know that we have this brand new nursing suite, that we have this brand new makerspace and this business technology intersection. There are a lot of people who be very interested to be brought back by their industry and their profession as well. So really great thinking, and we're always open to ideas like that. So thanks so much.
Thank you, John.
I'd like to just thank everyone for the presentations. I'm really very impressed. It's the whole notion of intentional education, that you have some goal that you expect to reach and to make an assessment of that goal. The nursing program reminds me so much of what I heard as a student at St. Mary's from my future wife and from others at CST. And the sort of the regeneration of that just sounds wonderful to me. It's the kind of nurse I'd like to have, that's for sure. No question about that. And the program with business and technology and all the other things that Dean Weisner talked about, that just is, to be able to express it in that way, to be able to talk about what it is that they're trying to do and the expectation for students, and to clearly identify that. I love the little badges and things that say, this is what I actually learned. Nice job. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Matt. Any other questions or comments?
It was wonderful. I think it was wonderful. I really was thrilled with the presentation of the nursing program. Just perfect. And Bob, I have to go. I'm sorry, Father Burns, but great stuff.
Always great to be with you, John.
Yeah.
Any other questions, comments?
Well, Bob, I have a question for Father Burns, and it's kind of a personal one, because I have two granddaughters in St. Paul. One is she's going to be in 8th grade. The other is going to be a junior. I'd love to see them at St. Mary's. The question, though, has to do with my concern about Catholic education in general, with the cost of Catholic education. I just want to have, if you could address that, Father Burns. How do you deal with that to get, students that are you know, not real wealthy, to have this great experience that actually I and my two brothers, Jim and Bill, both were fortunate to have and leveraged it really well, you know, in our careers.
Well, thanks for that question, and I agree. Just to point out first that St. Mary's, of the Minnesota private colleges and schools, we are the most affordable of those. That still doesn't mean that it's not a stretch for some. So I don't want to discount that at all. I just want to acknowledge that we have really, in the Christian Brother tradition of trying to make education accessible and affordable, we have tried to stay with that. There's that challenge between the discount rate and not getting it too high, so that while we still remain affordable, we don't kind of sell ourselves short in the sense of not being able to manage and take care of operations. At the same time, one of the things that our new Vice President for Advancement, Gary Klein, and I are working on is that spot. So we've done a lot of great things, and we will continue to do a lot of great things. And he could tell you a bit more about that in terms of first generation students. But there's that, what I say, that next level of students who are not necessarily first generation. Their parents may have gone to college, but they're not at that level where they're really making a significant income that is going to meet the needs of the current cost and educational demands of that student at that kind of, what I call that kind of a midpoint level in a way. And so one of our things is really to work with alums and work in the strategic plan in our philanthropy area to kind of fill that gap. That's a really important goal of mine, is that we find ways to build that scholarship funding for that, what I call that like low midpoint gap, so that we can actually continue to make it accessible for students. Someone jokingly said, well, what do you need your endowment to be to kind of be square on? And this is one of the first questions they asked me, actually, when I was being interviewed as one of the finalists for president. And I said, really, do you really want to kind of know? I'd say if we could have $1 billion endowment, like like some of the smaller schools, we would be able to manage our own financial aid without any problem. And Gary would love that as well, I'm sure. It's just a little goal for him to achieve there. But I say that a little tongue in cheek, but it does provide you with, the bigger our endowment grows, it's really, most of the endowment is not dedicated primarily to just operations. It's to this opportunity for scholarships. I mean, that's a big part of it, so that we can endow that piece. So I very much hear what you're saying. We very much want to make admissions packages, financial aid packages work for our students. So what I would say, what I tell people, don't let the sticker price, as it were, totally dissuade you from recommending. Have them meet with our admissions, have them meet with our financial aid people, and let's try to see if we can figure out a way. I wish we were like some schools. There are only a few schools that are completely need blind. That's an aspiration. That's a goal. That's a worthy goal for a Lasallian Catholic school, to try to recapture that need blind kind of status. If we can get there, that'd be great. But we're going to work towards that. In the meantime, we're going to try to keep our costs, our tuition structure at the lower end of the private colleges for sure. So I know that's probably not an exact answer, but it's aspirational, but it's also something we're enacting right now.
Oh, thank you, Father.
Absolutely.